the name of our Holy Trinity, one God. Amen. Please be seated. How many of us here today have read the classic American novel, To Kill a Mockingbird? Probably the great majority. And if I'm being honest, it was back in high school, so I had to brush up a little bit. But this is a very, very, of course, important novel in American history. So if you haven't read it, there might be some spoilers coming up, but you've had plenty of time, and I do commend it to you. You may recall, if you've read this book, whether recently or back in your own high school days, that one of the most important characters is Boo Radley. He is the reclusive, misunderstood neighbor of the town who's misjudged and feared by his community. Neighborhood legends whisper of a violent past for Boo and a delinquent childhood. So over time, he becomes the scapegoat for any crime that happens in this town, from small petty theft to things like animal cruelty. And because Boo is never seen, the town, and because the town doesn't try to understand who he is, the legend surrounding him continues to swell. Slowly, though, the reader realizes that Boo is not at all who the town thinks he is. His interactions with protagonist Scout and others are gentle and protective. Boo leaves small gifts for the children. He drapes a blanket over Scout's shoulders after a house fire. And ultimately, he saves the children's lives by defending them from a real human monster who is threatening them. Unexpected people can change our life. Isn't that right? Deep down, each person that we meet can be a gift in our life and in the world around us. Everyone has something that they can teach us if we simply meet them with the mercy and grace that we know from God. In today's lesson from the gospel, Jesus interacts with a Canaanite woman, a woman from the land of Canaan. Now Canaanites were ancient foes of the Jewish people. They were the indigenous occupants of what would become the promised land. So they were always in some sort of conflict with the people of Israel and Judah. So any interaction between a Jew, like Jesus and his followers, and a Canaanite, like the Canaanite woman, it must be understood in the light of this fractious history. There is great tension at play in this scene. And so the Canaanite woman, when she comes forward to seek healing for her daughter, when she approaches Jesus and his disciples, these Jewish men, she is taking a great risk. How will these men, these Jewish men, react to a foreign woman, a foreign adversary who's come to seek help? She asks Jesus to heal her daughter and calls him Lord and the Son of David. So already this foreigner is already starting to see things in Jesus that many others have yet to understand. She is persistent. She is faithful. And ultimately, Jesus recognizes her belief in him and heals her daughter. At this moment in Matthew's gospel, a monumental shift takes place. Earlier in the story, Jesus tells the woman that he was sent only to call and find the lost sheep of Israel. The author of Matthew's gospel understood Jesus' ministry to be for fellow Jews. Matthew believes Jesus is the fulfillment of Torah law, that he is the Jewish Messiah sent to minister to his fellow people, the lost sheep of Israel. Yet suddenly, after this story, Matthew's whole narrative of Jesus' mission shifts. Jesus heals the woman's daughter, a non-Jew. And by the end of Matthew's gospel, Jesus' mission has new meaning. He gives his disciples a wider mandate than mission to simply to fellow Jews. They are to make disciples of all nations. They are to go forth out into the world to Jew and Gentile alike. All people. The Canaanite woman gives us a glimpse of the salvation to come for you and for me. Jesus' ministry is to Jew and Gentile alike, as Paul's letter to the Romans, we heard, said. Yet the Canaanite woman didn't change Jesus. She changed Matthew. And Matthew's understanding of Jesus' mission and God's plan for salvation. On any day, a person can come into our life and change us and give us a new perspective. Isn't that right? Is there an unexpected person in your history who helped you understand your life in a new way? Perhaps it was a teacher who believed in you, a coach who pushed you to new athletic achievements and heights, a coworker who encouraged you to try a new project, a piano teacher who knew you could get all those notes just right. Whose persistence and faith in you moved you to explore a new vocation or a new relationship to the world? For me, that unexpected person is a monk. Brother Vincent is someone I've known almost my entire life. When I was about 10 years old, Vincent would help facilitate a week-long choir camp for kids in my hometown of St. Louis, Missouri. And as a young boy, I watched from afar as Vincent's life changed. He wasn't always a monk. When we met, Vincent lived a secular life, like all of you, without vows of obedience and poverty to Christ and the church. But during my formative years of knowing him, God called him to become a monk. It's only now, as an older adult, that I understand how watching his life change affected me. Brother Vince showed me that we all dedicate our life to God. And some choose to dedicate themselves through a lifetime of prayer and service and worship and obedience. As I grew older, Brother Vincent became a mentor and friend in my life. He was one of the first people who told me that God might be calling me to the priesthood. He encouraged me to spend more time in daily prayer and to consider how a priestly life and a vow to God and the church is one worth following. Because of his encouragement and faith in me, I saw how God was at work in my life in a new way. Brother Vincent, Boo Radley, the Canaanite woman. People come into our life and through God's grace change us in ways we never expected. My friends, we are never complete versions of ourselves. God is constantly entering new territory and breaking boundaries in our life and in the world around us. No matter how old we are, no matter what stage of life we are in, we are always there to have room for renewal and growth. Thanks be to God for the people in our life who bring us deeper understanding of who God calls us to be. Amen.